This week in the United States, wow, it's been wild. From politics to weather to chaos at the airports. It feels like the country's been living three stories at once. Let's start with the biggest one, the government shutdown. Yes, the longest shutdown in US history just hit another week. Imagine millions of workers waking up every morning, not knowing if they'll get paid. That's the reality right now. On Monday, the Senate finally passed a bill to reopen the government, but only partially and only until the end of January. Some called it a bandage on a bullet wound. It helps for now, but the bigger fight is far from over. The bill still has to survive the House, where Democrats are pushing back hard, saying too many social programs were cut. And while politicians argue, real people are suffering: unpaid federal workers, closed services, and families worrying about food and rent. The Supreme Court even stepped in this week, pausing an order that would have forced the government to pay full SNAP food benefits for November. That means millions of Americans on food aid programs are stuck waiting, again. The timing couldn't be worse. And if you think that's bad, wait until you hear what's happening in the skies. With fewer FAA staff due to the shutdown, the agency cut flights by about 4%. That might not sound huge, until you're stranded at the airport for 10 hours. People across New York, Chicago, and Atlanta have been posting videos of chaos, delays, cancellations, and packed terminals with no staff in sight. And just when travelers thought it couldn't get worse, winter decided to make a dramatic entrance. A massive cold front swept across the Midwest and Northeast, bringing the first real snowstorm of the season. Cities like Detroit and Cleveland were buried under nearly a foot of snow, roads frozen, schools closed, and temperatures dropping below zero. For millions, the first snow wasn't magical, it was miserable. Power outages, icy roads, and record-low wind chills turned daily life into a challenge. Meanwhile, the economic picture looks just as frosty. The Trump administration floated an idea that caught everyone's attention: 50-year home mortgages. You heard that right, paying off your house over half a century. Critics say it's like buying a home you'll never finish paying for. Supporters argue it could lower monthly payments and open doors for first-time buyers. But many Americans aren't sure they want to be in debt until their 70s. On the political front, tensions between the White House and the media exploded again. Trump threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion. The reason? He claims a BBC documentary edited one of his speeches unfairly. The media storm that followed was as loud as ever. Between lawsuits, shutdown fights, and cold winds, Washington, D.C. feels like a pressure cooker this week. But the drama doesn't stop there. Overseas, the U.S. sent a naval strike group toward Venezuela. Officially, it's about counter-drug operations. Unofficially, it looks like a message: we're watching. Latin American leaders called it an unnecessary provocation. Back home, protests have popped up across several cities, some demanding an end to the shutdown, others demanding more government accountability. Streets in New York and Los Angeles filled with signs reading, "Pay workers, not wars." On social media, Americans are divided. Half are furious about the shutdown, half blame Congress for the stalemate, and everyone's tired. But there's also a strange sense of unity. People helping each other, volunteers distributing meals to unpaid workers, and strangers covering strangers' bills. Amid all the chaos, the American spirit shows up, loud, messy, and resilient. By Friday night, hope flickered again as negotiations continued behind closed doors. Maybe, just maybe, the next week will bring a real breakthrough. But for now, the U.S. is standing in the middle of winter, cold winds, frozen politics, and a nation waiting for warmth to return. And that's what happened this week in America. A story of crisis, conflict, and courage. You've just caught up on the real week in the USA, United States.